What's up, guys? Welcome back to the YouTube channel. I'm Jonathan Garcia. In today's video, I'm going to be going over, you guessed it, the bench press. We're going to be giving away all my secrets and techniques to improve your bench press. If you are interested in getting your bench press numbers up, don't go anywhere. And at the end of the video, I'm going to be telling you guys about a very special giveaway I'm doing, so don't miss that. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so the first and foremost thing you want to really hone down is your specific setup. A lot of folks are gonna have a very intricate setup. Some people are gonna have a simple setup, depending on your arch, depending on your foot placement. You wanna find exactly what works for you, and what works for you should be the point that allows you to have the most leg drive. I know that's kind of weird if you're hearing it for the first time. Why would I have to have leg drive in a bench press? But bench press is all about the leg drive, and I'm gonna try to explain that as best I can in this video. There's been a ton of people to explain it, probably way more suited than in explaining it than I am, but I'm gonna do my best in this video to explain that to you guys. All right, guys, so the first thing that I want to talk about is hand placement. That's going to be varying from person to person depending on your anatomy. Some people have longer arms, some people have shorter arms, and also depending on what federation that you're currently in. So if you come look right here, the barbell is going to have these rings on there, and obviously that's to help indicate for the lifter where they're going to be placing their hands. And this is pretty much universal when it goes to bar brands. Like right up here, I have a Rogue Ohio bar, and again, you have that ring there. This is a power bar. Power bar, you know, by the knurling in the middle for the squat. So again, depending on what federation you're in, some federations are going to restrict you on how wide you can go. And the IPF, the federation I compete in, you have to have this bar somewhere covered up by your hand. So some people maximize their width, one, to cut down on their range of motion, and also number two, to cut down on the actual what body part that the strain is under. So for instance, like my grip, I like it here because it's a little bit more of, I feel like I can kind of get everything in there, whether it be my chest, my back, and my leg drive, my glutes in the bench. Here, I have tried that wider bench style, but I feel just such a disadvantage, and I feel it being all back and lower back. And my arch is not an arch like some lifters, which I'm glad we're going away from, but some lifters really exaggerate that arch to, again, cut down their ROM, and I just have never felt really strong there. So first thing, guys, find out where you like your hand placement and just run with that. Don't be afraid to change it. If you want to try a little bit more narrow gripped, that's totally fine. Wider grip, that's totally fine too. Just be mindful of your federation. All right, guys, so the number two thing that I'm talking about is going to be where the bar comes down on your chest. Again, it's all about user preference, but I think that there's kind of like a okay, wrong, and right way to do it. So when the bar path, you want the bar path coming down as close to where your pecs end as possible. So what I mean by that, if the bar is too low, you're going to be really trying to recover, and it's going to be a lot of the lower back. And if the bar is too high when it comes down, that's a lot of shoulder strain. And I'm going to demo right now with just the reds on here. Just wanted to kind of show you guys the advantages and disadvantages of being right here. It's like right where your chest starts on the press. Okay, so set up your bench, find your grip. I'm going to show you the right way. Here, pop. The wrong way. See, if it goes too low, it puts me at even that lower weight. Big disadvantage to try not to recover it. I'm at a really weak spot again, and it's too high right here. The pressure is all on my arms and shoulders. I'm not able to do any leg drive, okay? So again, guys, you want to make sure, even if you come down a little slower, for you can maximize the placement of the bar, and obviously that's going to maximize the drive lifting the thing. So once you find that, guys, try to envision like whenever I bench press every single time, whether it's a warm up or a max, making sure that I hit that sweet spot. Because the times that I have misgrooved, and that's the normal reason why I'm missing a bench is misgrooving it, it's because my technique's faltered. I hit it too high or hit it too low. Sometimes that can be due to a faulty spot, but again, we can't really, dictate, whether that guy gives me a good spot or not. Me personally, I don't like to compete with the handoff because I can't train with the handoff. I'm here by myself. So I rather just eliminate that variable and cut out the spotter, so that way at the competition, it's just like training at home. And I'm a big fan of, practice how you play and vice versa, because I don't have that spotter. So when I do have a spotter at the competitions, let's say something happens and he stumbles or he waits too long for me to let go, because he doesn't know who I am. He doesn't know how I like to trade. So he wants to make sure that I got it. And there's been a couple times at competitions where like, dude, I got it. Like, he's doing his job. Nothing bad against any spotter out there, but they held on to it for so long that I'm like, I misgroove or whatever the case may be. I lose that shoulder pinch. Then it's like, oh shit, I'm totally funked up right now, and how am I gonna recover? So me personally, because I don't train with a buddy and I don't train at a gym that I can count on a spotter every single time, I personally eliminate that variable at a competition and I don't use a spotter. And speaking of pinch, that's our next thing we're gonna get into. And guys, one golden rule before we get into any more technique stuff, let's talk briefly about safety. So when you are training alone, and honestly guys, even if you're training with some people, you absolutely do not want to use clamps. I really dislike when people use clamps. I mean, why are you going to use clamps here? If in case of an accident, I much rather have the ability to dump the weight off and not actually worry about being stuck. Now, while I do not think anybody injuring themselves or potentially even killing themselves is funny, but I wanted to show a couple of examples of how things can go quickly wrong on the bench press. This guy should have had a spotter or at least some spotter arms, but he was wise enough not to clamp. This guy's using clamps that, as you see, slips right out his hands, and him having the spotter arms really saved his ass there. Here's another great example of why you want to use spotter arms and why you do not want to clamp your weight. This guy is extremely fortunate that he was strong enough to get the right side back on the J-cup and remain conscious as he struggles to get his neck free. This could have been really a horrible accident into this young man's life. But again, lucky he's extremely strong and able to sneak out underneath here. Do not clamp your weight, guys, and please use safeties. Absolutely do not want to ever do any bench press whatsoever without safeties in place. I don't care if you're not going heavy. I don't care if you are going heavy. I don't care if you've done the weight before. It is absolutely insane to me to not use safeties. That's why they're called safeties. If something happens and you misgroove or, God forbid, I don't know, have a seizure or lose consciousness or hold your breath too deeply and unable to finish the set or the rep, you absolutely want to have safeties on there. I never ever like to bench press, especially guys if you're training alone without safeties. They are super imperative. That's why they're called safeties. And again, I've seen too many accidents of folks not training with safeties and almost lose their life. And there has been some people that have lost their life training with safeties, or without safeties, I'm so sorry. So you absolutely want to have safeties on there, okay guys? It's imperative. If you don't have safeties, you don't need to be training by yourself. Okay? Again, I'll say that again. If you don't have safeties, you do not need to be training by yourself. If you're at a commercial gym, I understand for some reason a lot of commercial gyms don't have safeties, which is absolutely ridiculous. You need to ask somebody. Me personally, even if I'm in the middle of the most heaviest set, I will stop, run over, and give somebody a spot. It takes 5 seconds, and that can save that person's life. Another huge safety thing, guys, do not use clamps. I don't understand why people put on clamps whenever they're bench pressing. If you have control of that weight, it should not be sliding all over the place. I mean, there should be zero reason why you need these, especially if you're training alone. Because what's gonna happen, y'all, yeah, let's say that I'm unable to do this, right? And I don't have a safety, right? Let's say I didn't listen to my great advice and I don't have a safety on there. What's gonna happen, I'm gonna be able to tilt and that weight's gonna slide off. How many videos have you seen or accidents out there where the guy has the weight clamped and then boom, gets stuck and then he can't go anywhere. He's crying for help. Someone help, help, help. Imagine he's training alone. Imagine people are having headphones on in the gym and really not just paying attention, kind of in their own world. He may lose his life or she may lose her life because she put clamps on. You can always kick the damn bar, roll it off. Whether if you're in a commercial gym or personal gym, I don't care. I'll break the mirror. I'll put a hole in the drywall. That's totally fine. I can pay and replace that. You can't pay and replace your life. So, done preaching at you, but 2 things there, guys. Safety, safety, safety. Never want to train bench press with clamps on, ever. My golden rule is if I'm laying down, it does not have to have safety, not to have clamps on there, right? So, again, on the bench press, no clamps. Obviously, on the squat and deadlift, yeah, you want clamps, but those are things that you can just bail, and there's other safety things that we can get into as well. But again, guys, second rule, okay? 2 rules. Safeties, no clamps, okay? There's no reason why this weight here is gonna slide all this way. Then there's no reason. Unless you guys, one arm is way longer than the other, and even if so, learn to adapt and control that. So, I'm done preaching at you. I just want you to train safety. Safety number one. An accident happens, it's gonna cost you more than time in the gym, could cost you your life. All right, guys, so also do want to touch real quickly on what equipment you're allowed to wear on the bench at competition, and the answer is all of it. You can use knee sleeves if you need to use knee sleeves for bench. Not sure why you would want to, but you can. Wrist wraps and a belt. With SBD's new 10mm belt, I really like how it kind of conforms to my lower back a little bit better, and there's been a few times on bench press where my lower back has just kind of gotten misgrooved and misaligned, and that's actually caused me a lot of pain throughout the bench press. And heading into the deadlifts, back pain is something you really don't want to mess with. So I've actually been incorporating the belt into my bench here lately. That's something you can kind of experiment with, guys. There's no right or wrong or rhyme or reason really to it for most folks, but it's something that I've been utilizing with this new belt and slimmer profile, and I've really been liking it. So first thing, like we mentioned already, is going to be the setup here. I've got about 145 kilos, which roughly translates to about 315 pounds, and I'm going to be talking about pinch point. So what I mean by that, guys, is right now my lower back is as calm as it can be. I've got my glutes clenched right now. I've got my feet firmly planted on the ground, and I'm creating what I call the strength bridge, which is going to be leg drive from the bottom of my heel to the tip of my toes, and that drive is going to keep all my lower body as tight as possible. Reason being is I don't want to lift this weight and have a very loose base. You want your base to be as solid as possible. And why I'm clenching my glutes is for the same reason. I don't want to be flat here and then all of a sudden trying to jump around. Because in competition, if my butt comes off the bench, even for a millisecond, that's a no lift. So I want to be as tight as possible. Find your groove. Find where it fits for you. Also, you want to create a pinch point. My head is firmly pressed into the bench and my shoulders are pushing into the bench. Even now, I am trying to push my upper body, my upper back into the bench press and keep it there throughout the entire lift. So again, big breath, unrack the weight, deep breath, deep breath, release, deep breath again, rack, boom. So if you guys notice there, my lower body did not move whatsoever. You want to be like a statue. And again, that power from your legs arching all the way to your butt, and then that power helping you push through the bench press to give you a little bit more drive. So if you guys notice there, my breathing was very controlled. I was speaking through the movement just so you guys could kind of pick up on what I'm about to explain. So the commands: start, press, and then rack. So if you guys are going to be getting into powerlifting, you want to train the way, again, practice how you play. Start, press, rack. So start is when you have the weight here, whether your spotter hands it off or you hand it off yourself or lift it off yourself. Now, one thing that a lot of guys practice is the press. Okay, obviously, you know, every judge is going to be a little bit different. I've been to competitions where it's a very short press. I've been to competitions where it's a very long press. You're like, what the hell are you doing? Are you checking your Instagram reels? Then you're telling me to press? So guys, you want to find something that's kind of in the middle where, yes, it's going to be close to what you think a judge might do, but you also want to give a few moments, milliseconds or seconds, of just in case, because every judge is going to be different, and you have to imagine the more strict or bigger the competition, the more strict. A judge at a local meet may not be as strict on the press calls as a judge at a national competition. Also, if you're going to be going for a state record, national record, or even world record, the judge is going to be even more intense with the press call. So you guys want to practice for that variable in the bench press. Another thing you want to practice is not only the press command, but also the start command. There's been a couple times, guys, I've had close to 400 pounds unracked that I unracked myself and felt the same way, like, holy crap, is this guy gonna tell me to start the damn bench press? So again, once you have the weight here, rack it. A great way to build strength in the bench press is holding it for a few moments, start, press, and don't go right back into that second lift. Have that pause in between the reps, so that way you guys get accustomed to how it's going to be on meet day, okay? So again, guys, I kind of glossed over what shoes to wear. A lot of guys like to wear sneakers or different shoes. I like to wear my squat shoes because I feel like the heel gives me a little bit more leg drive, and that's something that I really need on the bench press. So just kind of a small, simple thing I don't see a lot of guys doing, but I like to wear the squat shoes to give me a little bit more, and also too, my legs are kind of short, so I don't have to use like any spacers or anything like that while I'm doing the bench press. I kind of just have that built-in heel, again, to give me a little bit more leg drive. Now, while you can use spacers underneath, the problem with that is that we lift on carpet, and a lot of the spacers aren't, like, how do I explain this? Don't have any rubber on the bottom of it. It's just a smooth piece of wood with a little bit of carpet glued on top. And I've seen times where lifters have done leg drive, and that box slide and totally ruin their entire bench press. Again, that's a variable I'd rather just not have. I want you guys to pay close attention to my breathing during these sets. It's extremely important. Ugh. So I don't know if you guys heard that there or have started to see that from my last few sets. Breathing is another very crucial thing on the bench press. If you imagine your diaphragm opening up when you take a deep breath, it's kind of like an umbrella opening up. And the last thing that you want to do under a heavy load, especially just on your upper body, is exhale at the wrong time. So if I'm lifting the weight up, I want to have my diaphragm full to the max, okay? So, and you may think, that's kind of weird, Jonathan. I usually breathe in and then breathe out when I'm pushing out. But if you think about it, guys, you don't want to. What happens when you breathe out? You relax, right? Everything kind of decompresses and shrinks a little bit, okay? So that's the last thing that you want to have happen when you're trying to push out a huge bench press. Think about it. Diaphragm out. Hold your breath. Press. Hold your breath. Okay? So you want to hold that deep breath the entire press. Again, I'll show you. We're laying down, imagine. Deep breath. Press. Show you if the other way. Have it here. And then as I'm pushing, I'm breathing out. I'm becoming weaker. My mass is shrinking. Everything inside is getting loose, and that's the last thing you want. So again, practice that breathing. And I've left this mic on for my bench presses so you guys can hear the pattern of proper breathing. Give it a try. Breathing is going to take some time to master, but once you do master that breathing, guys, you'll see that you're a lot stronger. I want to have as much oxygen in my body as possible as I'm pushing that heavy load and requiring all the strength that my body is capable of. Alright guys, so that's the video there. I hope it was super informative. I try to go through every single process that I personally go through in my mind when it comes to the bench press. And again guys, take everything I say with obviously it being what works for me and my anatomy, which is going to be a little bit different than yours. Feel free to play with what feels right and what doesn't feel right for you. Sometimes you have to continue growing and evolving when it comes to technique. But once you find exactly what works for you, you definitely have to stick with it. And if you watched my last YouTube video, I talked about a giveaway that I was doing. So I'm going to be buying one of my lucky subscribers a brand new SBD 10mm belt. Or if you guys have lifted on the 13mm and you prefer that, you can choose. You just gotta let me know. We'll work it out together. All you have to do to enter is subscribe to my YouTube channel, hop over to my Instagram, follow me on Instagram as well, and comment on any video of your choosing why you think, or if you want to tag a buddy, on why you think they should get a new belt. This is the 10mm belt. I absolutely love this belt. I think it was a ginormous improvement over what arguably was the best powerlifting belt to begin with. So if you'd rather have this one or the 13mm, you just let me know. Again, all you have to do to enter, guys, is subscribe to my YouTube channel, hop over to my Instagram, follow me on Instagram, and then comment on any one of my videos. I don't care which one it is or posts on so why you think you deserve to win the belt. Good luck, guys, and again, thanks so much for watching the video. We'll see you in the next one.